Welcome to the Vulnerability Exploitation. In this lesson, I will exploit a vulnerable web page that have cross-site scripting vulnerability using the BeEF exploitation framework. I will demonstrate what we can do and what we can perform with the help of BeEF exploitation framework that is really a powerful tool to exploit the cross-site scripting vulnerabilities in a web page. So at first I will start from the BeEF exploitation framework and then I will attack the victims using a social engineering trick. I will send a malicious URL of the web page having the cross-site scripting vulnerability. So at first let's start the BeEF exploitation framework. Okay, the BeEF exploitation framework is started and it has been bounded to local IP address with the port number 3000. And there's the JavaScript page that is hook.js. So this page is basically a total JavaScript page that perform every actions on the victim machine. Let us see what is behind hook.javascript page. So at first we need to log in using the credentials that is BeEF and the password is also BeEF. Okay, so let's see factors and what the code that is the JavaScript by which this exploitation framework attack the victims and control all the aspects of the target system. So to view this, simply change hook.js. Well, this is all the script that controls the user on the target system. This is in the JavaScript. So as you can see, there is no online browsers, there is no hooked browsers that is connected with the BeEF exploitation framework. So first we need to connect and hook the victim browser in the BeEF exploitation framework. So well, I will create a scenario to use this. Well, as you can see, this is the BeEF exploitation framework machine. So let's see what is the IP address of this machine. This is 192.168.64 and 131. This IP address will be used to redirect the victim to access our web page that is hook.js page. So I will perform a step by step from here. I have started my BeEF exploitation framework. Now I will go to configure and see if there is a victim accessing a web page is vulnerable to cross-site scripting or not. So I will move to the victim machine. This is the victim machine and the IP address for the victim machine is this. Well, this is the OWASP broken way applications. This is a vulnerable machine that you have already seen in the installation and setting up lessons. Okay, so go to the OWASP bricks. As you have seen in the vulnerability assessment section that we have found a lot more cross-site scripting vulnerability in the web page using a lot more tools and the manual assessments. So as we know, there is a content page in the OWASP bricks and this content 2 page is a vulnerable with the cross-site scripting. So at first let's check if it is vulnerable or not with the cross-site scripting. Okay, this web page has been popped up with one that I have used a JavaScript to alert. So this is a clear indication that this page is vulnerable to cross-site scripting as we have already seen in the vulnerability assessment section. So I will just take it to and modify our attack to a real attack and connect the victim to our BeEF exploitation framework and hook their browser. Here you can see this is the script tag will be used to attack the target system and convince the user to access this URL where a user or victim is accessing a web page that is vulnerable to cross-site scripting. I will use this script and except the IP address will be this one that makes connect to this target system and the BeEF exploitation framework. So I will simply modify from here. This is our BeEF exploitation framework IP address and the port number is 3000 with the hook.js. Now I will simply use this URL that I have crafted to hook the browser to our BeEF exploitation framework. Simply you can use this URL to send using social engineering tricks to the victim, and if he will click this URL, their browser will be hooked in this way. Like you can see, the URL has been executed. Now let's see our machine that is running BeEF. Here you can see there is one online browser that has been hooked. This is the target IP address and the victim IP address that is now linked with our BeEF exploitation framework. Now we can perform our sophisticated attack and lot more attack with the target browser and the system. This is all the information related to the target system. Here you can see there is a CPU architecture and this hardware is laptop that is the machine running on the Windows. And the page URL that accessed by the victim was this one that I crafted for that, and the host IP address is this one. So now it's time to start attacking using the commands. Go to the commands. Now these are the list that we can perform in a categorized manner. So at first I will start with the social engineering tricks and the attacks that it will be performing. So my favorite, what I like the mostly is this one is the pretty tab, that it can perform a simple social engineering trick to get a user ID and password for the Facebook and the Gmail account and lot more account like YouTube as well. So in this case I will perform a Facebook account. This will send a dialog box to enter username and password for the Facebook account. If the victim is already logged in the Facebook account in another tab, then he will think that Facebook session has been expired and it requires to log in again. So I will simply execute. Go to the command and here results appear. Now go to the simply target system. Here you can see there is a pop-up has been opened and this will not go without entering email ID and the password. So I will simply enter the email and the password. Click login. Now let's go to our system. Here you can see email ID and the password that I used. By this method you can also perform Google hacking and the Google account hacking. Suppose I am sending YouTube, then what will happen? Here it has thrown a YouTube pop-up to enter the password. Entering the password will be captured. Here you can see for the YouTube credentials. Similarly, you can perform more actions using this one, like it will do lot more things. There are no limit what it can do and what it can perform for the exploitation of the victim. It can compromise full computer systems using this method. So here you have all the methods and the commands that you can run on victim systems. Another interesting method is Google phishing. It will throw a Google phishing page to enter the details. Simply execute. You can modify all these things by going to the basic.html. Going to the victim machine, it have thrown a Google Mail and the Gmail page, but the URL is same as the user was accessing. So typing the username and the password will be captured by our BeEF exploitation framework, and this will divert to the Google account, that is real page. Here you can see the URL. So this is all the methods that we can exploit using the BeEF exploitation framework. That is really a great and powerful tool that can be used to perform exploitation on the target system, and it leads to compromising of full system credentials and the details of the users. This is all the list of commands that we can run on the target system. Here we can perform also the exploitation as well. There are a lot more exploitations modules available here that we can perform on the target system. But it depends upon if the users and the target system is vulnerable to that attack or not. Here is the XSS attack that we can perform. Here we can bind the BeEF exploitation framework if there is vulnerability present in the active fact. And this is another interesting, that is BeEF bind shell. It will bind on the computer target system so that we can access at any time. Simply select operating system and execute. So all these are the exploitations where we can perform and full compromise the target systems. So by this way, the more you practice with the BeEF exploitation framework, the more you will be mastering this framework in order to compromise. This was the vulnerability to exploitation, as we have already found a lot more cross-site scripting vulnerability using the tools and scanners, automated scanning as well. So simply start BeEF exploitation framework and attack the target. But remember that it depends upon the target that is going to be a victim, and the page he or she is accessing must be cross-site scripting vulnerable, or simply your URL should be accessed. If you want to directly access without any social engineering and the cross-site scripting, then you must need to access that page and send the URL, replace this localhost IP address with your real IP, and the rest will be same. You will be successfully hooking their browser and exploiting their target system. So practice as much as you can. Thank you.